I'm in the 2023 Infiniti Q50 Sensory. This comes over $50,000. It gives us some features in here with ambient lighting, enhanced ambient lighting, like in the cup holders. It's actually a pretty cool experience, despite this vehicle being a little long in the tooth. It came out, oh gosh, what was it, 2013 is a 2014 model year. And I have to turn the car off to show you this one feature. Extra ambient lighting that goes on the outside, kind of like a side skirt, not quite the full length of the side of the vehicle. It's really just under the driver door is what it looks like. We also have a little light and the door handle there. Amber turn signal here on the glossy black mirror, and the lights have held up pretty well throughout the years. We have a very bright LED turn signal on each end. We also have the additional option of the illuminated Infiniti logo, which I think looks great. The headlights, you know, they haven't held up, I guess, that well, but really it's quite surprising that this vehicle still looks as good as it does about nearly 10 years later. Now, looking at the back, these lights are actually really impressive. They look a lot better at nighttime than they do just in static during the day. And these amber turn signals are no kidding. They're blinding me right now standing so close to them. So check out the inside. The inside is actually pretty impressive as well for ambient lighting. We have illuminated USBs back here, USB-C and USB-A. Unfortunately, these are not standard. These are actually an additional cost back here. And we also have illumination in the handles, not only to close the door, but also to open the door back here, just like we do in the front seat. Opening the door, I have lights on each side that light up the back seat very brightly. And when you close the door, they dim very slowly and very luxuriously. Nice and slow gradient as they turn off. So let's fire up the twin turbo V6, 300 horsepower, 295 pound-feet of torque. That torque comes in at a very low RPM. It's very fun to drive this car in town. This particular model has all-wheel drive. And let's talk about what we're seeing here for illumination. Like I mentioned, handles on the armrest as well as the door handle are illuminated. Memory seats illuminated. All your windows are very easily seen at night, and they're all automatic, by the way. And you also have very easy to see side mirror opening and closing buttons here on the side. To the left, your trunk button as well as traction control. This illuminates very brightly for me in the center, and there is, I don't know if you can see it, but this will dim the interior. And we have a little mirror in the middle that tells you how dim. It actually lets you turn the lights off completely at night, which is kind of surprising. So we're going to turn that all the way back up because I think it'll look better. Oh, there's max brightness is no joke. This is what it looks like during the day, but that's almost too bright for me right now. Buttons on the steering wheel are a nice dim glow, and they kind of match the glow of the climate control as well as the radio controls. I mentioned the cup holders have an ambient lighting. We also have a nice glow around the auxiliary. Yes, this still has an auxiliary as well as a CD player. You can't really see it. You see the eject button. But yes, we have USB-A and USB-C. I like the illumination around there. Illumination even in the drive modes. Your rotary dial, which I've never used. This really only works with the screen up here. And when I have Android Auto plugged in, I'm never using it. So the 360 camera, how does that look here? It actually is pretty good. Even when in your reverse lights light up really well to the back. And yeah, other than the sides, unfortunately your side skirt lights don't turn on when you turn your 360 camera on. So I have my little key light here at the top, maybe to help with the illumination as we drive the Q50 around town here at nighttime. It just has such a wide spread of light. I feel like most cars don't have quite this wide field of view with its lights. So very, very impressive. And if you want to use the brights, they go super high. Like they're halfway up into these 40-50 foot trees next to me. It's quite remarkable, the lighting on this vehicle. We'll do a U-turn here. Turning radius is not best in class by any means, and it is better on the rear wheel drive models than it is on the all-wheel drive models, but just that instant power and torque, so awesome to have just with city driving and if you need to pass someone on the highway. The brake feel in here is excellent, right at the top of the class with I would probably say the Acura TLX. just a complete pleasure. And I love hearing this V6 roar. It's a nice Lexus right there. It's an LC convertible. Ooh, that's a caramel apple. You got the caramel top with the infrared paint on it. That was looking pretty beautiful. And when I'm at a stop here, there's no start-stop features because this car is kind of old. They've never implemented a start-stop. So pedal down all the way. And it's just, it sounds great. Immense rush of power, especially below 5,000 RPM. I feel like it kind of trails off after that, but it's still fun to ring it out. When you're out on, so when I've noticed driving this vehicle in straights, it does kind of wander a bit. The steering is pretty light. When you're just going straight, it feels like if you have the slightest little input, it just wants to go that direction. It doesn't like to track forward very well. And I don't have that phenomena happening very often in the cars I drive. So even if there's imperfections in the road, the tires still kind of want to go that way instead of just tracking straight, unfortunately. So that's been kind of one of the few annoyances I've had with this vehicle for this week. I've been driving it, mainly driving it to my kids' school and back. Adults don't have a lot of space back there, but little kids have plenty. She's walking her dog. Most people would not be walking their real children this late at night, but the dog appreciates it in the stroller. A lot of people like to complain about the dual screen system. Like I said in my normal review, once you have Android Auto up here, I feel it's like a 1-2 combo. You always have your Sirius XM on down here. Very easy to manipulate as your hand rests on the shifter. And then the top screen is there for Android Auto. Like, I think it's a great 1-2 punch. And I actually prefer it over most infotainments, even though it may seem dated to a lot of people out there. So here's our lady in the stroller with her Shih Tzu. She's walking at a fast pace. She might as well be running with that thing. Ride quality is not exactly plush in here. It's fairly harsh overall. It definitely feels more luxurious than, let's say, a Camry or something like that. But when you're talking about a $50,000 luxury car, I feel like it should have a little bit more of a luxurious ride to it. It's got the sportiness down, but I would like it to have a little bit softer of a ride. These 19-inch wheels, they look great. Maybe 18s would make it a little bit softer ride, but it's probably due to the suspension more than anything. We got maybe a Santa Fe over here. Those lights look pretty good at night. The Tacoma and the Dodge pickup truck taillights look terrible, but you know, not everyone can look as good as the Range Rover. Oh, we got the old HRV in front of us. I love seeing, it looks like a Tesla Model S possibly in front of the Tacoma. It's fun being out at night. I don't get to drive a whole lot at night. I'm typically sleeping like most people, so it's fun to see the taillights in like their true form out here. In the daytime, I guess we just get blinded by the brake lights, but at nighttime, oh baby, where are they walking with that baby? It's a strange place down here in Southwest Florida. Those little Outlander Sport taillights did not look terrible either. And no matter how I've been driving this car, it still gets me 20 to 21 miles per gallon. And that's with a lot of idling as well. I've had a pretty heavy foot with it, but I've tested it with a fairly light foot as well, and I have not seen any better fuel economy. So 2021 is pretty consistent with this twin turbo V6 all-wheel drive setup. We have an auto dimming rear view mirror. This rear view mirror is super old school. It definitely looks like it's from my 2012 Prius. I mentioned that in my main review. Like, I guarantee it's the exact same part. They're both built in Japan, so they probably have the same supplier for this rear view mirror. Getting into the brakes in this vehicle just never gets old. It's always satisfying because it's so accurate, so predictable, so easy to stop smoothly. Like, it's never a jerky, harshest experience when you're bringing it to a full stop. We can put it into sport mode here. There are a few different driving modes. I haven't really played with any of them other than sport and standard. In my full review, I did a 0 to 60 in this around 5.2 seconds. It launches like a bat out of hell. It's very, very impressive. We're in sport mode here and we're gonna have a little fun. Accelerating out the turn. Just so fun to ring this thing out. It's by far the best thing about the Q50 is the twin turbo V6. So let's just put it back into standard mode here. And this is a very dark road, no lights around. You just see how bright the lights are. And I have my low beams, of course, because of this vehicle coming, but all right, let's flip them up. I can see the whole hedge on the left. Let's flip them down for this guy. That's one of the things driving in town. You don't really need to have your brights ever in a city. The fog lights are also super bright on this vehicle. So there's the fog lights on. I don't know if you guys can see that. There's the fog lights off, on, off. They really show a lot of light right in front of the vehicle and would be really helpful with the 360 camera as well. And I think I've covered everything about the Q50 during the day and the night. It's actually surprised me at night a little bit more than I was expecting for such an older vehicle on the market for over 9 years now. But this package around $53,000 gives us the front Infiniti badge illuminated, the sides illuminated, and additional ambient lighting on the interior, which is pretty cool and something I honestly was not expecting in this 9-10-year-old vehicle at this point. Thank you guys so much for watching. Let me know if you have any questions down below, and definitely stay tuned for more Nissan, Infiniti, Japanese, Korean auto news, and I'm expanding with additional coverage in the new year with more brands. Thank you guys. I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.